Hi there, and welcome to The Daily Gardener, an almanac of garden history, literature, and small botanical joys. I'm Jennifer Ebling, and today is July 28th. Well, it's unbearably hot again. July has just been miserable this year. Temps in the upper 90s, and the humidity off the charts. Yesterday, we came within 1 point of tying our humidity record here in Minnesota. And it's even the tough plants that are letting me know it's hard on them too. You know, some plants are indicator plants. They broadcast loud and clear when they're unhappy. Think of the peace lily. It droops the minute it's too thirsty. Other plants seem fine, right up until they're not. And by then, it can be too late to turn things around. And in a heat wave, plants you'd never expect suddenly become indicator plants. Indicator plants tell us about the conditions they like. Clover says the nitrogen is low. Jewelweed whispers to us that poison ivy is probably nearby. Oxalis hints at acidic soil. Experienced gardeners don't panic when they get a message from a plant. They don't curse the violets or the chickweed. They just think, oh, I see what you're telling me. They don't try to stop the plant from indicating. They just get curious about the message, and they use it to make better decisions about the plant. And here's the thing, gardeners are indicators too. When I haven't been out in the garden, when I stop noticing the birds, when I'm suddenly tired of a plant or a bed that I've loved for years, those are emotional dandelions. Nothing to be ashamed of, just a clue that the conditions have changed. Here's today's garden history. It was on this day in 1667 that Abraham Cowley, the English poet, died. He was born in London, started writing as a child, and his first book of poetry, called Poetical Blossoms, was published when he was 15. His 1666 essay, called The Garden, celebrated simple joys of nature, books, and a virtuous wife. And it was Cowley's words that Longfellow inscribed on a note pasted to the back of a framed mirror he gave his wife Fanny on their 4th wedding anniversary. It read, "The fairest garden in her looks, and in her mind the wisest books." And it was on this day in 1846 that Harriet Louise Keeler, the American teacher, nature writer, and suffragist, was born in the Catskill Mountains of New York. She grew up on the family farm, among sugar maples, hemlock woods, and the small flowers of an upland spring. She graduated from Oberlin in 1870 and then moved to Cleveland. She spent the next 40 years there, first as a teacher, then as superintendent. When a reporter once asked if she had ever been in love, Harriet said, "I have lived an intellectual life for my romance, with a mother love that found its outlet in teaching children the love of animals and the love of plants." At midlife, Harriet started writing field guides, but her masterpiece came out in 1900. It was called Our Native Trees and How to Identify Them. After she died, 300 acres of old-growth woodland in the Cayuga Valley was set aside in her honor. There, a granite boulder reads Harriet Louise Keeler, teacher, author, citizen. She liveth in the continuing generation of the woods she loved. And finally, it was on this day in 1852 that the American landscape architect Andrew Jackson Downing died in the Hudson River, south of Yonkers, New York. He was 36 years old. The son of a Hudson Valley nurseryman, Andrew showed immediate promise. By 25, he published the first American book of landscape gardening. It was a sensation. By his 30s, he was set to design the grounds of the Smithsonian, the White House, the National Mall, and Central Park in New York. But on the afternoon of July 28th in 1852, he boarded the steamer Henry Clay with his wife Caroline, his mother-in-law, and his family for a day trip to New York. When the substitute captain raced against another steamer, the boiler exploded and fire took the boat. Andrew was a strong swimmer, and he should have survived, but he tried to save others by throwing deck chairs overboard. And he died trying to save a drowning woman, a woman he had once courted. His wife Caroline survived by holding on to a deck chair. She inscribed his monument with words from his last essay. He wrote, "Plant spacious parks in your cities, and loose their gates as wide as the morning to the whole people." It's time to grow that garden library with today's book, RHS, The Garden Anthology, edited by Ursula Buchan. Garden Voices and Anthologies Week continues today, and today's book comes from one of the oldest and richest archives of garden writing in the world. The Royal Horticultural Society has been publishing a journal since 1866. 150 years of essays, observations, debates, dispatches from plant hunters, arguments about the use of peat, love letters to snowdrops, and some of the most memorable garden writing in the English language. Ursula Buchan read millions of pages of it and then chose the best. She herself trained as a gardener, studied at Kew, and is the granddaughter of the novelist John Buchan. She taught herself to prune roses at 15 after her mother died, and she took over the family garden. And she's been a devoted reader of the garden ever since. The anthology covers everything: kitchen gardens and climate change, wildflowers, and the inner landscape of the thoughtful gardener. More than 80 writers, a century of the gardening conversation. Ursula said, "Two of the deepest preoccupations of thoughtful gardeners are the weather and the passage of the season. These two natural occurrences govern almost everything we do, yet we cannot control either of them." The Greek root of the word anthology is flower gathering. And this book, RHS, The Garden Anthology, edited by Ursula Buchan, is 150 years of flower gathering in one beautiful book. And finally, here's something sweet to ignite the little botanic spark in your heart. It was on this day, June 28th, in 1866, that the English author and gardener Beatrix Potter was born. She grew up in a tall London townhouse with a walled back garden, a few trees, a gravel path, and a bed of laurel and hyacinths. Every summer, the family went north, Scotland, and then the Lake District, places where Beatrix came alive. She roamed the fields, she collected insects and fossils, and she studied fungi under a microscope. But the Linnaean Society would not admit her because she was a woman. Still, she kept working. She said, "I cannot rest. I must draw, however poor the result. And when a bad time comes over me, it is a stronger desire than ever." In September of 1893, Beatrix wrote a picture letter to a little boy named Noel Moore, the 4-year-old son of her former governess. She told the story of 4 rabbits, Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. Peter, of course, went into Mr. McGregor's garden. The tale of Peter Rabbit was rejected by publisher after publisher until Beatrix printed it herself, 250 copies, and sold out immediately. By 1905, the royalties paid for a farm in the Lake District. She called it Hilltop. It had a long garden path that ran down to the gate. And that's how, at the age of 39, Beatrix finally became a gardener. At Hilltop, she gathered plants from every neighbor she had. She said, "I went to see an old lady at Windermere and impudently took a large basket and trowel with me. She had the most untidy, overgrown garden I ever saw. I got nice things in handfuls without any shame." And she said, "Stolen plants always grow." I stole some honesty yesterday. It was about to be burnt in a heap of garden refuse. I have something out of nearly every garden in the village. By the time the roses came in, Hilltop was exactly what she had imagined. And she reflected, spring is the most beautiful time of year. That was Beatrix Potter, who died on December 22nd, 1943, at 77 years old. She donated Hilltop and the thousands of acres of Lake District farmland to the National Trust. Today, the farmhouse is open to visitors, and the garden is kept the way Beatrix made it. Today's book was RHS, The Garden Anthology, edited by Ursula Buchan. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener, and remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day.